Do you ever struggle to be a faithful Christian in a culture that doesn't share your beliefs? Maybe you've asked yourself, how should I act at school or work? What kind of music, movies, or social media should I engage with? What do I do when people around me reject Christianity or even mock it, or me? It can feel overwhelming. But here's the truth. You can navigate culture as a Christian with both wisdom and confidence. Welcome to the Binmin Popscast. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. If you're a Christian, you know there are times when our spiritual lives can be challenging. But every believer should know the next step for overcoming these challenges and strengthening their Christian life. So let's jump into today's topic, Christian cultural engagement. First, we need to realize that culture matters. Before we talk about engaging culture, let's go ahead and define it. Culture is more than just art, music, or entertainment. It's how people live. It includes family and community, education and work, government and politics, media, arts and entertainment, religion and values. Culture shapes our world, and whether we realize it or not, it shapes us. And that's why, as Christians, we can't ignore culture. We're already part of it. The real question is, how do we engage with culture in a way that honors Christ? The challenge is that our culture is increasingly godless. The world today is moving further from Christian values. Many young people grow up immersed in a culture that denies absolute truth, redefines morality, pushes Christianity aside. It's like a frog in a slow boiling water. Your spiritual beliefs gradually die, and before you know it, you've absorbed unbiblical cultural ideas. But here's the good news. You don't have to be swept away by culture. You can influence it instead. And there are at least 7 reasons why Christians must engage with culture. First, you can't avoid it. Culture surrounds you. Every conversation, class, job, and social media post reflects it. The question isn't if you'll be influenced, it's how. So you need to decide. Will you shape culture or will it shape you? Second, engaging culture is part of our mission. Jesus commanded us to go and make disciples of all nations in Matthew 28. That means sharing the gospel with the world. Loving others means pointing them to Jesus. And that starts with engaging, not avoiding the culture around us. Third, we're supposed to be salt and light. The world needs Christians who live differently, not just blend in. Jesus calls us to be salt and light. Salt preserves and brings out the best in food. As salt, Christians must slow moral decay and preserve truth. As light bearers, we show others God's love in a dark world and Christ's goodness through our words and actions. Fourth, as God's creation, we reflect God's image. Genesis 1:27 says, we are made in God's image. That means we have creativity, wisdom, and purpose. When we create art, pursue truth, and love others well, we reflect God's beauty to the world. Fifth, God calls us to steward culture. God placed Adam and Eve in the garden to care for it. Well, that command still applies today. Christians should be involved in science and medicine, music and art, education and law. We don't retreat from culture. Our role is to redeem it for Christ's glory. Sixth, your family and future matter. The world's view of family has shifted. Marriage is seen as temporary, and life isn't always valued. But God designed families to reflect His love. Even if you're single, you're part of God's family. And as Christians, we're called to restore what's broken. Seventh, you will face opposition, so be ready. Not everyone's going to agree with you. Some will challenge your faith. But as 1 Peter 3:15 tells us, always be ready to give a reason for our Christian belief. But we must do it with gentleness and respect. And that's why apologetics, or defending your faith, is so important. It helps us to share the truth with confidence and kindness. In conclusion, I'd like to end with a question. Can we successfully engage culture as Christians? And the answer is yes. In John 17, Jesus prayed for us to be in the world, but not of it. And that means We don't isolate ourselves. We don't conform to culture. We transform it with Christ. So, what's your next step? Well, pick one of the 7 areas I talked about. Ask yourself, how can I reflect Jesus here? Small, faithful steps add up to real change. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Binmin Popscast. The Christian life can be challenging, but every believer should know their next step. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Visit binmin.org for show notes and resources. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter to stay updated with all the latest episodes and exclusive content. And follow us on social media to keep the conversation going. Until next time, God bless.